6 plus size people versus 1 fake. So somebody is trying to fake being a big person.
Jeans, I definitely think like good Americans might go to. Obviously, they're like on the higher end of like pricing wise, but they like make my ass look great.
Well, that's the thing. Also, like getting the confidence to actually wear what you want, it took me forever. So when I actually did, I'm still in the mentality when I was like 16, 17 and I could fit in a medium.
Shout out to the 9 in here.
I can't go to the same stores. Like, I can't go to a mall and buy clothes anymore.
I would say 2 years ago, I would go to like Goodwills and Value Villages, but that has become a lot harder as of late.
The reason that I chose to do this was mainly because it meant a lot to me to share the idea of like, as you transition away from being in a bigger body to potentially being in a skinnier body, that is not something that like makes you harder working or better at like achieving some sort of goal than the other person.
Well, so he was big
in a plus size body. And going into it, I like promised myself I wasn't gonna tell any lies. I was gonna be very truthful and speak on every kind of experience that I had had leading up to today. I wanted to make sure that what I was saying was stuff that I lived through. I think putting on a character would be disrespectful to the other people that were here today. I just thrift most of my clothing, and like I have a tailor for my pants anyway.
Okay.
Like back in, yeah, 100%. Especially when I'm back home. I'm 15 minutes outside of New York City, so I usually just commute in there. There's this one thrift store, I don't know if anybody's been, called the L Train, and like that is really good for carrying bigger sizes. Back in my actual hometown, I can go to my tailor very easily. It's like a 5-minute drive from my house. Okay. So I thrift probably 90% of my clothing, cheaper, saves energy, and like it feels way easier.
There is no way he's gonna go pay like $15 for jeans, then go pay $45. Like, I get it, as a plus size person, tailoring for some things, great. But I could not believe for a second that he is tailoring every set. And I was like, he is not fat anymore.
Not gonna lie, I shop at Ross a lot, or Marshall.
Anymore? Like,
And
the fact that she thought of that is crazy.
It's a hit or miss. Sometimes at Ross they'll have bigger sizes, sometimes they don't. But if it says
She could have just said
stretch,
he's not fat at
I'm
all.
usually good on it.
I actually didn't even share where I got my jeans from. I realized that. I usually shop at like American Eagle. Jeans in general are like a struggle to find. Either they fit your thighs and they don't fit your waist.
I could imagine the struggle it is to find some like clothes for real. I could imagine that. Like, that's crazy. But that's if you like big, like over big. Maybe that dude right there. But like, yeah.
I did feel, I guess, invalidated in a point, because they were talking about, you know, brands and, you know, and stuff that I can't really afford. So I thought my answer of, oh, I shop at Ross because that's what I could afford, I thought that's what kind of eliminated me.
So I was gonna say, if any of you guys did any form of like performance as a kid, and I know we were talking about how some of us were models before, sorry about names, but how that affected you growing up, and how like the idea of performing and being on stage was definitely more difficult for you than your peers.
That is an awesome question.
Well, you start since there.
Yeah. So I was on the math team for my elementary school, which was like very fun, and I enjoyed it a lot. But before our first meet, when we were doing practices and such, they gave us the vest sizes. And I remember putting on the largest vest size that they had, and it clinging to my skin and making me very uncomfortable. And I walked into the bathroom, and I was looking at myself in the mirror, and I was like, I can't do this, and I quit. And it really frustrated me that I let that take away something that meant a lot to me. That was definitely like my first experience with like, it is very difficult for me that outside elements are going to take who I am and make that a form of a problem.
As a woman in a plus size theater community, it's like I always got the funny roles or the really unattractive roles. And I'm like, I'm big, that doesn't mean I'm hilarious. Like,
Girl, we could talk about this forever.
yeah, so that's super powerful, because
that's a
performing
thing.
and becoming into yourself, you either have to be overly confident and fake it till you make it, or it will tear you down. So I'm very
Because somebody big, they supposed to be funny.
Do we identify, like, what do we use to label ourselves, if you have one?
Actually, there's a lot of funny.
Yeah.
There's a lot of funny big people. I ain't gonna lie.
For some reason.
Really?
I like just normal.
Yeah.
Because I'll say fat, and then people will be like, oh my God, fat. And then I'll be like, it's not inherently a bad word.
It's
It's an adjective.
That's the
fat all
thing.
the
No, but it
time.
is kind of taboo, because it was like, oh yeah, I'm fat. Don't say that, you're beautiful. I am gorgeous, but I am fat.
I didn't say I was ugly.
It's, oh my God, bro.
Sorry, I misspoke.
I was
People
like,
treat it like it's
right,
taboo, and
right.
that's
So
the issue, really.
it's two truths. I'm like,
Exactly, yeah.
I feel beautiful, but I am fat. Being fat or plus size does not mean that we're not active, that we're not nice people, that we're not worthy. It really sucks when people treat you differently because you're a size 18 rather than a size 2 or 4.
When I, like, for example, great example, I went Halloween shopping. And
my
it's
God.
really hard because, like, first and foremost, trying to find the plus size costumes, they're like, it's just kind of integrated everywhere. And it's like, realistically, you have 200 costumes here, but only like 10 are for plus size. Then I go on to the other costumes, and I was like, my choice is to be like a duck or like the plus size.
Nah, this is actually interesting.
Costume covered boobs, knees, everything, but the skinny costume for the other nun was like tits out for her all day.
Exactly.
And I'm like, so I literally, like, my choice is like be a bubble bath or a duck, and I'm like, I need a plus size section when I walk into somewhere because we have not progressed in human society.
Yeah. There was this brand that had this big campaign saying they were launching extended sizes, and then it came out and it was like completely different than the straight sizes, and I'm like, we are just asking for the same thing.
Why do they get cocktail dresses and I get moons?
Literally.
Nah, Halloween shopping is crazy. Bro, you could put anything on, bro. Literally. Just not a morph suit. I'm sorry.
Shut the up. What? Me? What? Yo! Oh my god! Who voted me out? I'm psychic. I know. One of you was on to something.
If you think the mole is still in the box and you wish to continue playing the game, please raise your hand.
I think the odd one out is probably somebody who lived as a fat person
Used to be, yeah.
but lost the weight. But usually a lot of the times people that do grow up fat or go through weight loss journey, they end up being more fatphobic.
What build is crazy?
In all cases, it's not in all cases, but it does happen a lot.
Turning in on that, I really do think that in my personal experience, people that go from being in a bigger body into becoming skinny feel some sort of resentment, especially because I think they tie achievement to what they've done for some reason.
Nah, flexible. We could play something.
Of look at what I've done, and they push this American dream-esque mentality of genuinely I worked hard and I did this. And it's like, well, not everybody wants to do that.
And that's fine. That's fine. If you want to lose weight, do that, but you don't need to project that onto everyone else. And I would think if you were somebody who lived that experience as a fat person, you would understand.
Honestly, dating, I've met many guys who were like, I used to be big, so I understand that being smaller is more desirable, and it's just this conversation just rubs me the wrong way because I've been met with so many people who think like that, and the worst person I dated was very fat phobic, and they used to be bigger and they lost weight, and they were shaming me about my body, being like, we'd have better sex if you were smaller. And
damn, alright, bro, chill.
Oh my god.
No, 100%.
Nah, that's insane.
Right? Because they quote on, sorry,
Fat is bad.
So the girl that just got out.
Because they put in the work, that part being air quotes, and became into a skinny.
What kind of scary game?
Wait,
you aren't working as hard. But again, not everybody wants to work that hard.
Exactly. Can we also go down the line and maybe just say if we have been fat or plus size most of our life, or if
actually, that's great because I wanted to say for me it was a little bit different. Growing in South America, there isn't a lot of overweight people, obese people, and I've always been...
Bro, it don't matter how big you is or whatever. If your mentality, it can... The only thing that matters, I think, is literally your mentality, how you think, and confidence. Nothing else matters. That's, I think, if I'm big, I'm gonna still be the same person. That shit don't, that's just me personally.
So to speak, and I was fine.
I ain't letting that shit get in the way to my rest of my fucking life. What the hell,
I
nah.
moved to the U.S. when I was 16, and I started gaining weight. The life here is different. I wasn't as active. I wasn't doing sports anymore. And then I was on birth control. So for me, it was hormonal imbalance that made me gain a lot of weight. But it really sucked. And, in my own skin, I'm going to start crying. I'm sorry. Being skinny. And, now you're fat. And, everybody treats you different.
I think it's difficult too because
You around the wrong people.
fat. I've been fat my entire life, and I've always envied, in a way, like I've always wondered what it would be like to live in a thin body and how people treat you differently. Like I've
You know how many people
and I
got big
think that
over
is
quarantine?
when you exactly. I understand what you're saying.
That were
You
real
know,
skinny?
and it's hard because from people who haven't, it's just we can't even fathom. Yeah.
Speaking into the whole spinning.
She was probably could have been part of that.
Fat, I definitely relate to that. I'm a bulimia survivor. I was bulimic for about 8 years, and I also played volleyball and it was in theater and stuff like that. And the only reason I stopped throwing up and binging and purging is because I was losing my voice, and I love to sing.
No, facts. OBS Studio
I
better
got
than
no-
Streamlabs.
No, that's the worst.
That's in my opinion.
I went from mezzo soprano to mezzo alto.
Are we all crying now?
Pretty much. But yeah, like if it didn't affect my voice, I don't know if I would have stopped.
Mm.
It really broke my heart after, having to vote people out who, in my heart, I knew were fat. To just feel invalidated, that sucks. That really sucks.
What? Because I wasn't crying. I'm sorry, y'all.
So the eliminations is something that we're right.
It's America's fault we all overweight.
From the experience.
It was
Yeah,
just
I
like
ain't
being
gonna
in the
lie.
space where we were sharing our stories.
It
and
is
Everything felt so heartfelt, but it's just a game.
100%.
But overall, it was really awesome to be in the space and have these conversations.
They
that
just be making
don't
anything.
happen often if you don't have fat friends to talk about them with. As someone who grew up very self-conscious and didn't know where to look and turn to see people like me, I take that on as an adult to speak about these things and have these conversations that we're still confused about.
If you think the mole is still in the box and you wish to continue playing the game, please raise your hand.
I swear to God, if anyone's lying, oh my God, I'm so
For real.
pissed.
If the lights turn green, that means you have voted the mole out and you win. If the lights turn red, that means the mole is still in the box and you lose. 1, 2, 3.
Why he making that face like he about to laugh? Yo, what's up with dude? I know he experienced this, but bro.
We lost.
On the count of 3, everyone can take off their blindfolds. 1, 2, 3.
I knew it.
I
Knew
Wow. I told a heartfelt story about dating someone fat phobic. You guys voted me.
Okay, can we talk about 1,000,001 reasons why it was Derek?
Okay, the only one that got me was like the theater. Like I really could relate with that. So I obviously
Same.
know that
No,
you really
that
were
was
through
your
that.
biggest
I
red
think
flag.
that was true.
It was true. That's what I'm saying.
That's an
Blew me
important
away
thing.
was
Nothing.
blew you away was
There is
that
not a single.
you
Yeah.
were
So when I was in 4th grade, I was 4 feet tall. I was 144 pounds, and my doctor told me that I was morbidly obese, and it was a very self-image wrecking thing for me because he used language that made it seem like I needed to
4th
change
grade.
as opposed to
And
just
bigger
assessing
than-
where I was. Like I said, everything that I talked about before was
Whoa.
true. But when we were talking about people being incredibly fat phobic that go through a transition of being in a bigger body and then ending up quote unquote skinnier, that experience for me was I mistook the pain that came with not having self-love as being associated with a number on a scale. And as I kept moving the goalposts further and further away from myself and saying, this will be when I'm happy with myself, and this will be the time in my life where I like the way I look, and once I do this, I'll be happy with myself, I was no happier than when I started. I just kept being further and further from a goal that I was changing. I am happy not because of the way that my body looks, but because I can have self-acceptance, and that's a very difficult journey for anybody to go on, and me losing any form of weight played no factor in that. I hope that in watching this video, somebody can learn that the horrible stereotype that they have of plus-size people, whether that be that they're lazy or sluggish or they don't eat right or they're not healthy, there are people that are plus-size that are faster than you.
He said I'm a big ass but 144 4th grade is crazy. I ain't gonna lie, that is crazy, bro. 4th grade? You're not even in middle school yet. Nah, that's crazy.
People that are
Bro.
plus size that are in better conditions than the average.
4 foot 144. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. We not making, bro. Listen.
I was definitely
He the GOAT, bro.
of my life, and I still feel the residuals of like the way people treat you for being in a plus size body, like to this.
But the thing is,
I'm hearing a lot
he was growing with that, and he was able to like actually like lock in on it. So he was growing with that. So it's like if you're like bigger when you're older, you probably not gonna have like, I think just kids in general will have a freaking motivated mental, because like you're still like exploring the world and stuff. I don't know.
Because at least for me,
I feel like that's good that
bullied or anything like that. It's just like my own mind.
he had that early on in life
And be like, oh my god, you're fat. You need
to lock in later.
Outside of that, like I didn't experience,
I guess.
like with bullying and name calling, I didn't see any of that. So like hearing you guys, like that's a lot.
It's kind of tough.
I couldn't tell like how I had an eating disorder when I was younger and how I overcame that, and then I slowly started drifting back to it, and I'm trying to lose weight now in a more healthy manner. So I wish I could have told that story to the group.
I'm sorry to anybody that shared something personal and then like because of this feels like they were lied to.
That dude not even that big.
I came into the game with the idea of just having fun, and I promised myself like I'm not gonna lie a single time that when I speak. It's like I didn't want to like come in here and build a character.
I hope people who watch this video, no matter what size you are, I think it's important that we're just kind to people and treat everyone with respect.
I hope everybody just takes away like empathy. You never know what someone's
They
going
told
through.
me
You
that
never
in
know
school.
why
They told me that in school, and I continued to get in more fights. They told me that in 3rd grade, 4th grade, and guess what? More fights happen. Nobody give a you can't stop people. You can't do nothing about like just because you take me to the office with dude I had a fight with don't mean we walking out and we buddy. That ain't that never works. Like I feel like them counselors just be doing shit and thinking they did something. Like that motherfucker only acts strange when you in front of him. When it's just me and him, that is on some bullshit.